for me, coming back to work in Tunisia in 2014 has been particularly interesting because I was here in 2011, about 5 months after the revolution, the end of the revolution. I was here in June 2011. And when I was here, I sensed a very unique episode in the media in Tunisia. Because I realized back then, speaking to journalists and even interviewing a couple of them, was that they had really lived under a genuinely very strict, harsh regime that systematically controlled media, and really did not offer them that space to be what media in open societies do. So suddenly you've got this control lifted off you, and the initial kind of the first instinct of a lot of journalists to use and enjoy this freedom was to ask any question that came to mind without any regard to accuracy, ethical standards, journalistic media ethics. So a lot of the questions were very accusatory, and they looked at officials as adversaries. So they would be in front of the election officials, election commissioners, and right away, because they saw them as officials, they thought that now I'm free, I can just point the finger and say, you are a thief, you're corrupt, you're... So the tone was very
I remember you mentioned the guy that said, what did he tell you? We don't know what to ask?
So I was one of the first few press conferences between the election management body and coming out to the media. One of the first press conferences they held, and I thought it was quite an odd press conference because the media was extremely accusatory, and the election commissioners were extremely defensive, and also at some points seemed to be appalled at how many questions were being asked. So I thought it was very interesting, and I spoke to one of the journalists that said, this is a bit odd, what did you think? How do you take this press conference? And he goes, you know what, it's all very good. The problem is that we don't know how to ask questions and they don't know how to answer. So for us this is all new, we're both learning. And I thought that was a very nice and honest assessment.
And it does feel now that they're actually comfortable with this democracy environment. It's, they're living it now. It's not something new to them. This time around it feels more mature.
And you can really tell that the journalists are much more comfortable in their role. They're still very free to ask any questions they want, but their questions are a little bit more measured, less accusatory, more informed. They ask specific questions about specific electoral affairs, about electoral laws, about electoral procedures, and the election officials are much more comfortable answering. I think that media centers are important to creating that space, that atmosphere. For example, one of the things that I think is interesting is that it's one thing for an election official to show up on a stage and be this talking head on a stage and then disappear behind in the background, and it's another to have that commissioner going around a media center all day where the media can interview him at any point, can have a frank conversation on the side with him, and then can see him as an official. And I think that it changes the relationship that that you have between an official and a journalist, and I think that's what media centers in an election context do.
It does elevate the game of media very well.